Welcome to Hard Talk on the BBC World Service with me, Stephen Sackur. My guest today revels in his reputation as one of South Africa's most controversial politicians. Julius Malema is self-styled President and Commander-in-Chief of the Economic Freedom Fighters, an organisation that is part political party, part populist street movement with paramilitary overtones.
It's the most logical thing that when a leader of a government doesn't perform well or the country is in a crisis, that leader should leave office and give others an opportunity who can come and do a much better work. Because I don't think that Mr. Ramaphosa has got a coherent plan as to how he's going to save South Africa. No, democracy works like that. That's why our constitution provides for the resignation of the president or impeachment or motion of no confidence. So the democracy we are trying to define now, you can't find it in any of the definitions of democracy. There was money which was stored at his house, not declared to Reserve Bank, to financial intelligence, to the banks, to SARS, South African Revenue Services. Nothing has happened. Ramaphosa went to look for people who stole from him from another country without having opened a case with the police, and used the police facility to pursue those who stole from him. Managed to get some of them, went to torture them at his house. When you say there is no evidence, I don't know what you're talking about. Because
you've just...
There. Politics don't work like that, where someone from London tells you to back off. There's no one from London who can tell us to back off. We do what we do, and we do it for the best of our people. Ramaphosa has brought the office of the president into disrepute. And we must be worried. We who love South Africa, that our office cannot be occupied by a person with so much accusations against him, including torturing of women. We shouldn't be only obsessed with money. There was a female there who was tortured, and the chief bodyguard of Ramaphosa has now come clean, confirming the allegations that were made against Ramaphosa as a person who was leading that investigation. No, but you are also peddling a lie, because Ramaphosa never denied the allegations. He said he will answer at an appropriate forum. So you can't, to your audience, speak with authority that Ramaphosa denied any wrongdoing. The reason why he has been struggling to answer questions to the public protector is because he's got no answers to give. You can't quote Ramaphosa here on Hard Talk, where he says, I vehemently deny the allegations. He says, I will cooperate with the investigation authorities. He has never denied that there was something that went wrong. We still want answers from what happened in Marikana, because he called for
let's not go back to the Marikana mines incident.
If you have not been part of picket lines, you will never know how important picket lines are. In South Africa, we are where we are today because we have always opted for picket lines. And now we have a crisis with a government that is not held accountable, with a president that thinks he's above the law because he enjoys the protection of the capitalist white media. So the only thing we have is ourselves. We are going to bring our bodies to the streets and demand that Ramaphosa must resign, and that the new president must look into the cost of living, including working on finding us a possible reasonable oil, which will ease our pain, because our problem starts with the price of oil in South Africa. Zuma will never be president of South Africa again. He must enjoy his pension. And people must stop troubling him there in the villages. He's looking after cattle. There's going to be the EFF that is going to take over South Africa and run it for the better. So do not confuse us with internal factional battles of the ANC.
What did you say to Zuma when you met him?
No, I met President Zuma to persuade him to go to Zondo Commission because I had an appreciation that if he doesn't go and ultimately he gets arrested, there's going to be a problem in South Africa. And I was reminding him that we grew up under you. You guys used to teach us that we ought to respect the Constitutional Court as a final arbiter. So today, you guys want to create an impression that if the Constitutional Court has spoken, there can still be others who speak above the Constitutional Court, which is wrong. So the Constitutional Court said we must go to the Zondo Commission. That's what
right. Well, what?
Firstly, there were no guns which were looted ever in South Africa during the July unrest. So it's incorrect to say there were guns looted. People looted the most basic things because of the levels of poverty in South Africa. So the peddling of guns being looted is an imagination.
That's not true. Containers of weapons disappeared in Durban. You know it as well as I do. It was widely reported.
No. But there was no looting of guns. If container is missing, something else. Because looting will mean that there was different areas that it was happening in July where people were looting guns. There was no such a thing. It's an isolated incident of a container, and therefore it must not be conclusively that there was looting of guns in South Africa. There was a problem with one container. I'm here. There were no guns that were looted except that container that we are speaking
right.
of. Not for Zuma. There can't be any violence because Zuma is going on trial. That is not going to happen. The violence that is going to happen in South Africa is because the elite is disappearing, and that the poor are becoming more poorer, and therefore there's going to be something like that looks like an Arab Spring. One day we're going to wake up with very angry people who are not going to be reasonable if there is no immediate intervention to try and help with the social conditions of our people in South Africa.
You, of course.
But for Zuma, it can't be. There won't be any violence for Zuma. He's going to go to trial, whether he likes it or not, and the judge will take a decision about that. If I was responsible for rising tensions in my country today, what you see is picnic. It could have been worse than that if I was commanding it. I've engaged in democratic ways of trying to resolve problems in South Africa. And therefore, those who are scared of our ideas try and create an impression of very violent people. We are not. We are not responsible for any single violent activity that has happened in South Africa. You can't link us to anything. You can't link us to corruption. You can't link us to the abuse and violation of women in South Africa. But there is always this attempt to want to project us as being unreasonable people. But at the end of the day, when you break things down,
hang on.
never see the EFF like that. No, but you want to deny me a right to analyze society and give my own perception of what could be a possible outcome. When the unled revolution comes in South Africa, the first target is going to be white people because they are the ones who've got the means. And the black elite, which has committed a class suicide, will also be pursued. But the biggest losers are going to be white people who should by now come to the party and say, guys, how do we find solution to the problems confronting our people? Because the unled revolution is led by the fact that people say and arrive at the conclusion that we have nothing to lose. but our chains of poverty. That's why they will do what they're doing.
And I can guarantee you.
No, but you are lying. You see, your problem, you lie a lot and then ask a small question. You are lying. You are a liar. There's no EFF that gets a lot of money from a white man who is in cigarette. That man donated once when we were forming the EFF, and that's what is actually paining all of you. So it's a lie. We're not getting any money from any white person to run the EFF. I am an elite. When the masses come to attack all of us, I will also be part of the people who are attacked by these masses on the ground, because they will accuse us of having abandoned them in squalor and joined the palace politics. But we're trying everything in our power to say to them, we are fighting for you to get a better life. It's not an easy thing, and our people know their leaders who are trying to make sure that things are equal.
So what are you?
Well, I think your biggest worry is white people. I've never heard you speak about black people in a manner and the passion you are expressing yourself, as if there are only white people here and there are no black people who are actually at the receiving end of this crisis we are talking about.
No, on the contrary, Mr. Malema, I'm asking you why black South Africans should believe that your nationalization program would actually deliver for them.
White people, properties and all of that. Your obsession with them is exactly what distorts the message. Earlier on, you referred to AfriForum as an organization of white people. Call it for what it is. It's a racist organization. It's a racist white organization. So our proposal is very clear. Industrialization is going to create jobs. Nationalization of the mines is going to create jobs. The nationalization of the land, expropriated without compensation, and the state becoming the custodian of the land, will give a lot of our people access to the ownership of the land, and they can use the land to sustain themselves with the help of the state. And that's what they
look at the state energy company, Mr. Malema. Look what that's delivering for the people of South Africa.
But let's look at also the private companies that are falling in South Africa. Why do you want to create an impression that the state companies are failing? The ANC is failing Eskom so that it can sell Eskom. If you first make it look like it's not working, so that by the time you come to sell, everybody is so annoyed with Eskom and agrees to the nonsensical selling of state-owned enterprises. Recently we had aviation company closing down. It was not a state-owned. And then you take the state-owned aviation company, you say, no, let's privatize it because the state can't run it. As if when it's run by private sector, that it does a good job. It's not true. We are with Russia, and we are actually encouraging our government to work with Russia and to work with BRICS to try and find solutions to these problems we're confronted with. The Russians were there for us when it was not fashionable to do so, and we make no apology about our association with Russia. Well, the EFF will bring the ANC's rule to an end, and our strategy as we are about to collapse this big elephant is not to consider who else to work with. We want to take down the ANC, and we're doing exactly that. I didn't know on the other side you are a fortune teller. I thought you were a journalist. Because you can't tell what's going to happen in 2024. Only us who are involved in this work will tell you that the EFF is going to win 2024 elections and will not need the racist DA, if that's what you're concerned about.
Julius, Malema, we're out of time, but I do thank you very much indeed for joining me on Hard Talk. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.